When evictions and the famine packed the ships that sailed from Cork, they were bound for Ellis Island in the harbour of New York. This new world, this land of plenty, must have seemed so very strange, but they had their fiddles, pipes and songs to help them through the change. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. There were Germans, Poles, Italians playing polka-zumba style. The boys who had them reeling, they came from out there in Zion. Huey, Ennis, Coleman, Morrison, bands made up by Chief O'Neill. Daddy Ricey, soft shoe shuffle, while he fiddled jigs and reels. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. In the Appalachian Mountains, tunes took on new names. Likewise in Philadelphia, where the Irish minstrels reign. Every Friday night, the Flanagans played at Toma Blood, New York, singing "Dur-a-lura-lura" and me Irish Molly-O, drinking rare old Irish whiskey from Cavan and Mayo. Camps and vaudeville halls, Irish music met black rhythms with a sound that shook the walls. Such a joyful syncopation this odd couple then did make. At times some called it crazy, it's called rock and roll of fate. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when the century had turned and all the music came together in the brave new world. What a time it must have been when
Fáilte agus díomh go léir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Kathleen O'Neill, along with Bruce Smith, inviting you to 2 hours of Irish music news and announcements on Detroit Irish Radio at crbradio.com. The call-in number is 313-942-0159. We are broadcasting live on this wonderful 4th of July weekend, and as you heard with this first song by the Black Family, What a Time, we are going to be talking about immigrations and the immigrants that have come to settle America and make our nation what it is. This show can be heard at the Gaelic League website after the show broadcasts on the radio page, or you can listen right now, as many are, on Detroit Irish Radio Facebook page, thanks to Mary Bongiorno, or crbradio.com Studio 2. Once again, you can also listen later through the YouTube channel of Detroit Irish Radio. So let your family members and friends know there's various ways that you can hear this program, especially those that are out and about this holiday weekend doing other things.
And we're still hearing about people who haven't been able to connect to the show. So if you know anyone, please help them out.
Right.
They don't want to hear the show and they don't know how to tune to YouTube or go to the Detroit Irish Facebook page. They need help. We hear about it all the time.
We need help.
We need help. Help.
We need help in letting you get the word out too of how it can be done easy for them. I spoke with someone yesterday and found out that they were having a little bit of difficulty. I said, and found out they were on Facebook. I said, well, Mary Bongiorno, make sure there's the link right to crbradio.com Studio 2 while the show is being played or broadcast. And then later that link gets changed to where it is archived at the Gaelic League website. So, yes, we went to make it work for everyone. You can always email us with concerns at DetroitIrishRadio@gmail.com or text that number 313-942-0159, and we will get back to you. And sometimes it's called eventually.
No, as soon as possible.
You're right.
Yeah.
But today, the Gaelic League Irish American Club is closed, so keep that in mind if you are out and about. We are not open today, but we are doing live broadcasts.
We can hear the phone ringing in the background.
Yes. So with that, this is a special weekend for not only America, but also for our Canadian neighbors. We are both celebrating Independence Day. Those that are in Canada or have relatives there know that Canada's Day of Independence is July 1st. Until 1982, it was known as Dominion Day, and the day commemorates the anniversary of a Constitution Act which consolidated 3 territories into the single nation of Canada way back in 1867, 156 years ago. Here in the United States, Independence Day is a federal holiday celebrated on July 4th. It's commemorating the Declaration of Independence, which was ratified by the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia on July 4th, 1776, establishing the United States of America. And that was 247 years ago. So with that, we are going to pay tribute to both nations. We'll start off with John McDermott's America the Beautiful, and then followed up with Tommy Macon's song, Canada My Own.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Seas beyond the year, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tear. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood This is my own land, so fertile and beautiful, majestic her mountains, her rivers run free. Privileged the children who call her their homeland. Canada, my own land, forever you'll be. The sun rises first on the green shores of Newfoundland. On Vancouver Island he sheds his last ray. The great Arctic Circle reflects back his glory. Wheat-laden plains grow more golden each day. And this is my own land, so fertile and beautiful, majestic her mountains, her rivers run free. Privileged the children who call her their homeland. Canada, my own land, forever you'll be. Proud are the people who travel your highways, the farmer, the teacher, the factory hand, the merchant, the miner, the doctor, the fisherman, proud to belong to this bountiful land. And this is my own land, so fertile and beautiful, majestic her mountains, her rivers run free. Privileged the children who call her their homeland. Canada, my own land, forever you'll be. Famed is your power, and famed is your gentleness. Your bounty is endless, from sea to shining sea. Your arms ever open to help those less fortunate. A bright light of freedom to those who would be free. And this is my own land, so fertile and beautiful, majestic her mountains, her rivers run free. Privileged the children who call her their homeland. Canada, my own land, forever you'll be. Canada, my own land, forever you'll be.
Well, as we're going to learn through the course of today's show, the impact that immigrants have had on America and its independence. And I am so happy right now to have someone I just met recently, and that is Christina Lasagis, that's part of the consulate in Chicago, the Irish consulate. Welcome to the program, Christina. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Kathleen. I'm happy to be here.
Well, very good. And you were here and you gave such a wonderful presentation about how people can be, if they're eligible for Irish citizenship, receive their passports. And you also talked about a special program about working and living in Ireland for 12 months or up to 12 months. You want to tell us about the work program first, and then maybe you can give us contact information of how people can find out more about passports?
Sure, happy to do that. So the Working Holiday Authorization is a special immigration permission available to eligible U.S. passport holding citizens who are currently enrolled full-time in third level education, so associates, bachelor's, master's, etc., or have just graduated from such a program within the last 12 months.
And what is there an age limit to this group of people?
There is not an age limit on this permission, so if you are an adult student who has recently gone back to school to obtain your master's, your bachelor's, you are also eligible for this program. But I do have to say that if you are issued this immigration permission, you do not have family reunification rights, so your family cannot come with you. So this is a permission just available for yourself.
Okay, and what does it entail? when you talk about a working holiday?
So working holiday, basically what it entails is you have permission to be living and working in Ireland for up to 12 months, and your 12-month clock begins the day you enter the country. And you can hold any type of employment that you are qualified to perform, and you're able to live anywhere within the country. I always recommend to my applicants that they look beyond Dublin. Everybody always wants to live in Dublin, but as I'm sure a lot of your listeners know, finding accommodation in Dublin can be very difficult. So there's a whole country out there for applicants to explore, and I really encourage them looking west and south.
Okay, and what if they cannot find a position in their chosen profession? Can they accept a job in something other than what their schooling was?
Yes, absolutely. So there is not a requirement that you are performing work that is related to your studies or your degree. So many of our applicants, they work in the hospitality sector, whatever kind of jobs that they can find. So you're not barred, only holding jobs that your education covers.
All right, and is there a certain time frame that they have to apply, or they can apply? I mean, is this a year-round program that you can apply whenever it suits you?
Great question. So this is rolling applications. So there isn't a timeline of which you need to submit your application. Some of you that are familiar with the J1 program for young Irish people coming here, there is a time frame in which they have to apply. These are rolling submissions for the WHA. So you can apply anytime you like through your local consulate office. And the application is available online only. So you'll go onto your consulate website, look for the working holiday information tab to access the application link. You'll print that out. You'll include your stage 1 documentation, and you'll mail that in, and then you'll hear from a consular officer for your next step.
Okay, and where will you find that application? At what website?
So specifically for Chicago, that would be www.dfa, like Department of Foreign Affairs, .ie/Chicago.
And do people need to just send it to whatever consulate they're in, the area that they're involved? Like Detroit
Yes.
is part of the Chicago. But if someone's listening from Boston, they would have to send it to somewhere else, or look
That's right,
online.
Kathleen. So if you're residing within Consulate General Boston's area, you would be submitting your application through that office. So wherever your local Irish consulate office is, that's who you submit your WHA application to.
Excellent. And for those of us in Detroit that are listening, and certainly for our friend Stacy Skinador in Illinois, Chicago would be the place, which is where you are. Very, very good.
That's right.
I'm sure people have lots of questions. They can also use that website to email you and get more information.
Yes, there's a contact us section there on our website. So if you have more questions about the working holiday authorization, feel free to send us an email at that query link. I can also provide our email address right now, which is 𝐃𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐤𝐤, that's CONGEN, at DFA, like Department of Foreign Affairs, .ie.
Excellent. You're a wealth of knowledge, Christina. I was so impressed with the evening that you were here at the Gaelic League recently with Kevin Byrne. And you did talk about the passport process and having to be eligible as an Irish citizenship or a citizen first before you would apply for that passport, which only makes sense. But can you briefly share with us who would be eligible to become an Irish citizen?
Of course, and just to say that myself and Consul General Kevin Byrne, we had a great time in Detroit the other week. We're so happy that the Gaelic League was willing to host us and show us around Corktown and the fabulous hot spots around Detroit. So it was lovely to be there, and we're glad to have that type of diaspora outreach. So thanks again for that.
Well, you're welcome back anytime.
Okay, so for Irish citizenship, you're eligible to be an Irish citizen if you were born on the island of Ireland prior to the year 2005. There was a law change, so there's a little bit more information if you were born on the island after 2005, but we won't get into that. If you have a parent who was born on the island of Ireland, you're automatically a citizen by birth, so you can apply straight away for your Irish passport. And then one of the last ones is if you are the grandchild of someone who was born on the island of Ireland. So if you have a grandparent that was born on the island, you're eligible to apply for your Irish citizenship through the foreign birth registration process. And the way that works is you first submit an application applying for your citizenship. You're submitting documents relating to yourself, the applicant, your linking parent, and your Irish grandparent. And from there, once you receive your citizenship, then you would be eligible to apply for and hold an Irish passport. And some of the benefits of being an Irish citizen are, of course, your ability to live and work in Ireland freely, but also other EU member states.
Very nice. And would they use that same website that you gave for information about citizenship and passport?
Absolutely. You can find that information on our website, but also from the main Department of Foreign Affairs website, which is www.dfa.ie. So from there, you'll see some various tabs on there on passports or citizenship, and you can click into whichever tab is relevant to your.
Okay. That all sounds wonderful, and I hope that you guys are ready for people to be sending you information and emails in regards to both the work program and how they too can be the holder of an Irish passport. So, Christine, I appreciate you sharing all this information on this very special holiday, 4th of July, and knowing that the Irish immigrants have made an impact on America, and how it would be nice if those that are eligible could also go back and be part of where their relatives came from. So thank you.
No problem. I'm happy to chat with you and your listeners today. Wishing everyone a happy 4th of July, and just wishing everyone the best with their passport applications and foreign birth registration applications. So we're always here if you have questions, and there is also an online chat feature as well that the department offers. If you have a pending passport application, we encourage our citizens to use the online web chat feature.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend and days off, and we'll hopefully see you in a few weeks' time when a few of us are going to Chicago.
No problem. Have a lovely rest of your weekend and a great holiday. Thanks for letting me call in today.
All right, take care, Christina. Appreciate
cheers.
it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, very nice when we can get right from those that have the knowledge and are the ones that are helping to help people through the process of gaining either work permits or passports. So that was Christine Lasagas from the consulate office in Chicago. With that, let's go into a couple more songs here. The first, that's before we do that, let's say La Braha Hana to those celebrating birthdays this week, including today's. On Sunday, we have the 2nd of July, Raymond Clark, Bob Moriarty, and Aaron Weekly celebrate their birthday. Tomorrow, my nephew Joe Dewan, along with Sarah Ginny and Owen Wilson, have birthdays being celebrated. 4th of July is a special day, not only for the whole nation, but we have people that actually have everyone celebrating their birthday with them. And that's Ryan Cooney, which is Andy Cooney's son, Kitty Durbin, Laura Early, and of course it is Independence Day, 247 years as a nation. On Wednesday, Jennifer Locke celebrates her birthday. Friday, Patricia Heineck and Riley Shosky. And then Saturday, Tom Dombrowski, J.D. Hayes, and Patricia Watkins. A very, very happy birthday to all of you. And for those whose names I do not have, we're wishing you lots of wonderful celebrations and good health in the coming year as well. We're going to hear Dingle Spike with the song The Immigrants, and then follow it with Andy Cooney's Immigrant Eyes.
We are the immigrants, I'm sure you know us. You'll find us in every town, right across the land. Some of us are doing well, others poor and lonely. We all came here with the same dream from our green and pleasant land. It's sad, I know, to watch us go, endless drums heading for the boats, a product of our politicians' schemes. A fresh-faced fan, cream of our land, heading for some foreign shore, some to never come back home again. We are the immigrants, I'm sure you know us. You find us in every town, right across the land. Some of us are doing well, others poor and lonely. We all came here with the same dream from our green and pleasant land. How long can the shame go on, this exodus of Ireland's hopes, leaving a land to the old and very young? A tourist attraction, a summer distraction, can't hide the truth from our clever youth, educated here to help some foreign land. We are the immigrants, I'm sure you know us. You'll find us in every town, right across the land. Some of us are doing well, others poor and lonely. We all came here with the same dream from our green and pleasant land. We are the immigrants, I'm sure you know us. You find us in every town, right across the land. Some of us are doing well, others poor and lonely. We all came here with the same dream from our green and pleasant land.
Old Ellis Island was swarming like a scene from a costume ball, decked out in the colors of Europe, on fire with the hope of it all. There my father's own father stood huddled, with the tired, the hungry and scared, the turn of the century pilgrims, bound with a dream that they shared. They were standing in line just like cattle. They were poked and sworded and shoved. Some were one desk away from sweet freedom. Some were torn from someone they loved. Through the sprawling tower of Babel came a young man confused and alone, determined and bound for America, carrying everything that he owned. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's immigrant eyes, I see that day reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing and working hard all of his life. Don't take it for granted, says grandfather's immigrant eyes. Now he rocks and stares at the window, but his eyes are still just as clear as the day he sailed into the harbor, to the land of the island of tears. Now my grandfather's days are numbered, but I won't let his memory die, for he gave me the gift of this country and the look in his immigrant eyes. How I gaze with pride at my children, and I marvel at how quickly they've grown. Born and raised in this country, it's the only home they've ever known. They never knew their great-granddad, or that he was determined and wise. But I hope that I passed on his spirit and the look in his immigrant eyes. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's immigrant eyes, I see that day reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing and working hard all of his life. Don't take it for granted, says grandfather's immigrant eyes. Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's immigrant eyes, I see that day reflected. I can't hold my feelings inside. I see starting with nothing and working hard all of his life. Don't take it for granted, says grandfather's immigrant eyes.
Okay, we just heard from Andy Cooney. Just a little reminder, we've been hearing from Father Brendan McCarrick on and off many Sundays. A reminder that the Irish Palatine Fathers annual Detroit Dinner Dance, it's a mission fundraiser, is happening on November 10th of 2023 out at the Hellenic Cultural Center in Westland, and Andy Cooney and his band are going to be the entertainment. Also, we will be honoring the Woman and Man of the Year, and that is Pamela Dunleavy and Charlie French. So put that on your calendar now. We'll be hearing more about it. You can always check out the IrishPalatine.org website to find out what's happening when. I also want to say 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝑪 to those celebrating anniversaries this week, along with us celebrating the anniversary of our independence in America. We have tomorrow Chris and Shannon McCarver celebrating 8 years of marriage, along with Kevin and Tammy Shannon, 25 years. On Thursday is Vern and Jean Marie Lipscomb, 49th anniversary. And on Saturday, Tim and Kelly Reynolds celebrate 6 years. So congratulations to all of them. Wishing them many more healthy, happy years together. Let's see what else we got going here. Just a little reminder that this CRBradio.com is the place for 4 different Irish radio programs on the weekends. Starting on Saturday, Matt O'Donnell broadcasts the Emerald Isle Express from 1 to 4 p.m. On Sunday, we already heard from Johnny Costello with the Rebel Rooster from 10 a.m. to noon in Studio 1. Bruce Smith and myself, Kathleen O'Neill, are here with Detroit Irish Radio from 1 to 3 every Sunday, or most Sundays. Bruce is always here, but we're in Studio 2. And then tomorrow, Patrick Johnston has the Irish Music Cafe from 4 to 6 p.m. with his assistants, Aaron and Dave Keene. The Detroit Irish Music Association are going to be back here for their monthly first Wednesday of the month session this coming Wednesday, July 5th, and that is from 6:30 till about 9 o'clock. They start off slow, or they have a slow session. They open up to a little bit of a faster speed, but they welcome everyone. If you're just learning to play an instrument, or if you're a seasoned player and would like to help share your music with others, all are welcome. You check out their website, DetroitIrishMusic.org, for more information. And some of them went off to Washington, D.C. this past weekend. Actually, today, it's also happening, July 2nd. From June 29th to July 2nd, it was the 50th anniversary convention for Cultus 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝑚, North American province, which this group, the Detroit Irish Music Association, is a part of. They are a Cultus 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝑚 group playing traditional Irish music. So we're really fortunate to have some that even go on off to the convention and bring back more news and more tunes for us. They will also be here next Sunday, July 9th and July 23rd, to do a session from 3 to 5 o'clock at the Gaelic League Irish American Club, located at 2068 Michigan Avenue in Corktown, Detroit. And some of them come a little earlier and often will play a tune before this radio program ends. If you want to find out more about them, they also offer music lessons, and hopefully in the future those will happen not only out in Ann Arbor, where they also play sessions, but here at the Gaelic League. With that, let's go back into some more music, talking about talented people here from the Detroit area. We have one of our own, Kathy Ryan, who grew up in the Detroit area and was a regular down here as a youngster, teenager at the Gaelic League Irish American Club, learning the songs and learning to dance, the Irish dance, and just being a big part of our community, our membership. Was part of the original Cherish the Ladies, and then went out solo, and this is a song that she has written in thinking of the undocumented immigrants. The song is The Back Door, and then we'll follow it with another talented female Irish singer, Aoife Scott, who is part of the Black family. Her mother is Frances Black, but she is too a very talented singer-songwriter who has been here at the Gaelic League with the song Irish Born.
I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. I know I'm lonely in this country. I think I always have been. I knew as a child I'd leave Ireland. The goodbyes were ghosts in the wind. A dream handed down in my family. Uncle Pat and Aunt Ann before him. And over the radio to haunt me, all the songs they sang were of leaving. I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. I don't mind hard work for a living. There's so much I'm able to do. I can't spend my life as a living with nothing to look forward to. I want my own bed, my own kitchen. I want my nights to myself. I don't want to hide underground anymore, if it means that I hide from myself. Give me your poor, you're tired and you're hungry. The exiles of your teeming shores, words carved deep in stone and in the hearts back at home, but not meant for the living anymore. I'm a long time out by the back door, a long time passing unseen. The voices that haunt me are harsh now, confuse me and urge me to leave. But I claim the promise of this country, and I have the right to my own dream, and no one can take that away from me. I have half a chance here, I'm not leaving. I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. Unwanted, unseen, and unheard. Thank you.
There's something in my nature that moves my very bones, that makes me seek adventure far from my native home. I've come across the water, traveled many miles, saved money for some paper that lets me stay a while. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. Those who came before me built towers to the sky, but never judge a culver built in those different times. I know about hard labor, I've worked hard all my life, but when I'm over stateside, I am who I decide. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. I'm all bargain fancy, I've changed up all my style. The only way you'd know me is I have my father's smile. I know about hard labor, I've worked hard all my life, but when I'm over stateside, I am who I decide. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised. I've crushed ice in Savannah or shades in LA, made coffee in Manhattan. I'm Irish born and raised.
All right, I want to take a moment and also remind people that normally we have the Detroit Harps, the young boys and girls ages 5 to 17, practicing out at Floatin Park in Canton on Sundays. Not today. Instead, they will be having their training on Wednesday of this week, July 5th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. New players are always welcome, especially all skill levels. It doesn't really matter if you know the game or you're just learning. The goal is that everyone will come out, enjoy practice in the evening, and there are even some tournaments later this month, July 15th and 16th. It's optional, but some will be going to Philadelphia. So keep that in mind if you have young children or if you have grandchildren or nieces and nephews between the ages of 5 and 17. They can go out to Floatin Park in Canton, Michigan for their practice. You can check out Detroit Harps on Facebook, and they also have a website, which is DetroitHarps.com. Take a minute and say Aberpadger Sunadini Atatin to the following people that are in need of prayers at this time, including Ivan Anderson, Mary Jo Began, Laura Bond, Judy and Tom Bruning, Margaret Carducci, Bill Carney, Nick Cimitero, John Couture, Kitty Durbin, Brian Dunleavy, John Finnerty, Bridie Flynn, Ed Foley, Betty and Mary Gowdy, Mary Gold, Joanne Haley, Dennis Hayes, Dave and Aaron Keem, Jamie Jones, Shelley Lees, Kevin Lussick, Angela McGuire, Patty Martin, Eden Mashburn, Rick McMurray, Richard McNichols, Sean Moore, Bridget Murray, Ann Purcell, Mary Ann Quinn, Betty McCabe Rizzo, Norman Root, Alexander Joseph Sade, Chris Scanlon, Mary Sheehy, Megan Tierney, Sarah Turner, Lexton Williams, Joan Wisely, Kevin Wisely and your family members and friends that may be in need of prayers at this time. Next up, Bruce, can we go down to the section where we're going to hear from Daniel with the song Never Tire of the Road and the Green Fields of America, and then follow it with one of our local groups, or was local group until 𝐈𝐸𝐸 died a couple of years ago, and it was the group 𝐸𝐸 with Somewhere in America.
I was just a small-time country girl when I left that dusty town. Route 66 to the westward, and I hopped an old freight down. California, here I come, by the side door pulling in my sunburned thumb. They called us Okies, low-down bums, and the police on us frown. Never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheels, never tire of the ways of the world, way out yonder's calling me. And the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my goal. And that lonesome voice that I heard in my head said, never tire of the road. California to the New York Islands, me and my guitar. And we played in many's a hobo jungle, many's a skid row bar. Standing out in the wind and the rain, and the lonesome whistle is a sweet refrain when you're waiting for some old freight train that carries an empty car. Never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheels, never tire of the ways of the world, way out yonder's calling me. And the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my goal. And that lonesome voice that I heard in my head said, never tire of the road. Don't ever let them fool you or take you by surprise. The dirty smile of the politician, the man with the greed in his eyes. One big union, that's our plan, and the 𝐈𝐸𝐸 is your only man. The flames of discontent will fan for the cause that never dies. Never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheels, never tire of the ways of the world, way out yonder's calling me. And the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my code. And that lonesome voice that I heard in my head said, never tire of the road, never tire of the road, never tire of the rolling wheels, never tire of the ways of the world, way out yonder's calling me. And the dark road leads me onwards, and the highway, that's my goal. And that lonesome voice that I heard in my head said, never tire of the road.
across the North Dakota hills. Twilight road unwinds, the setting sun, spring showers of gold across the dark green pines. The evening shadows change from grey to an ever evening blue. I'm somewhere in America, half a world away from you. 16 towns behind me now, 16 more to go. I've long since stopped believing in the romance of the road. Oh, friends and kind hearts wait for me in the town I'm heading to. I'm somewhere in America, half a world away from you. Here and there along the road, welcoming and bright, lights from homes and farms appear, dark Dakota night. Their brightness shines on others' lives, their welcomes for their own. I'm somewhere in America, half a world away from home. But well, you know I love this life, the endless roads of stage. Music's a fever in the blood, wild bird in a cage. You and I let that wild bird fly, its bright dreams to pursue. I'm somewhere in America, half a world away from you. Across the North Dakota hills, Toilet road unwinds, the setting sun, spring showers of gold across the dark green pines. The evening shadows change from grey to an ever evening blue. I'm somewhere in America, half a world away from you. I'm somewhere in America, half a world away from you.
Okay, we also have coming up this weekend the best little festival in the world, and that is at the 𝐾𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐨 Festival, July 7th and 8th, located on the Ann Arbor-Saline Road in Lodi Township. But right now we have our good friend Pádraig Egan. Pádraig, how are you today?
Very good, Kathleen. I'm calling a little bit later than usual, and that's due to all the games going on. Again, thanks for taking my call and allowing me to share the happenings in the world of Gaelic sport. And we just have had, I think the only way I could describe it is a bonanza of Gaelic football in the space of 24 hours. In fact, in the space of 24 hours, we had 4 All-Ireland quarter-finals.
Oh, wow.
So for anyone who likes Gaelic football, this was definitely a very big weekend. So 4 All-Ireland quarter-finals were played in Croke Park yesterday and today. Now, that's a great treat for us GAA supporters, but it means that in August and September, which was traditionally the time for these big games, there won't be any county games at all. So that's a subject for another time. So the action started yesterday with Kerry versus Tyrone, and I'll give you a quick background on that game and that rivalry. 2 years ago, Kerry and Tyrone playing in the All-Ireland semi-final, and at that time, a few days before the scheduled game, Tyrone announced that they could not play due to the many players who had contacted COVID, and the game had to be rescheduled, and there was a sense among Kerry supporters that Tyrone had used COVID for gamesmanship. So there was a real rivalry yesterday between Tyrone and Kerry. By the way, 2 years ago, Tyrone beat Kerry and eventually won the All-Ireland final. So yesterday's game brought an even higher intensity than normal. So we have a little sample, Kathleen, of the game between Kerry and Tyrone from yesterday, I think.
Yep, we'll have a listen.
20 metres in from the far sideline, about 35 metres out from the goal of Kerry. Puts it on the left. That should fall into... Oh, brilliant stuff inside. Shane Ryan. That's what you want. I didn't think of that. He needed more Weetabix there, Ambrose, or porridge, and a bit of honey as well in the back of it. Now, Gavin White has it. Coming outside the 45 for Kerry. Race there, it's nice to see him back to his fitness. Serious footballer. Jack Barry's had a solid game so far, Ambrose.
Midfielder
doing well. Back to Diarmuid O'Connor. Absolutely. Diarmuid O'Connor has it now. Give it back to Jason Foley. The man with, well, the classy boots, we'll say, here in Croke Park. But it's made for class. That ball is put into Paul Geaney. Paul now running off the shoulder is Diarmuid O'Connor. Diarmuid on the left. Diarmuid hits it. Over the bar.
Fabulous score.
Brilliant score. You want your midfielder to do that. And he's capable of doing that. A 2-point game. It's Kerry 8 points, Tyrone 6.
I can tell you, Diarmuid O'Connor and Jack Barry are having the upper hand on Kennedy and Kilpatrick.
Yeah. And there was pressure on the two boys coming into the game.
With fair play to them. They've answered the question
so far. Let's keep it going, lads. Well done to them again. What a club it's with the last number of years coming up the different divisions to see. Then senior football, senior championship football. Now Tyrone inside their own 45. Patrick Hampsey play that ball wide to the far side, looking for Cormac Quinn, the wing back. And chased there by Dara Moynihan, trying to get past Dara Moynihan. Little bit of speed, that's Brian Dooher territory. And he did the right thing, Moynihan. He's gone to ground. That has to be a free out. Well done to Dara Moynihan.
Well done to Dara Moynihan. Tracked.
Yeah.
Tracked Mr.
Now they're trying to get the counter-attack here. Can Kerry keep it going? Graham O'Sullivan now with possession.
Needs support.
Side to 45. Now Clifford has it. Needs support here. Who's coming at no real pace now coming, Ambrose. That's the pity. Now they spread the play wide, looking for Gavin White. Gavin will see the Shawnee O'Shea is aside. He's not giving it to Shawnee. Got two players around Shawnee. Jack Barry now, good hands. We'll give it to Adrian Spadan. Adrian comes like a bulldozer, but a bulldozer in top gear if you've ever seen it. That ball is spread wide, looking for Graham O'Sullivan. Neat little ball inside, looking for Paddy Clifford. Is that a mark? He's playing on Paddy. Paddy's coming in along the in-line, using all the force, and it has to be a free in. Well done, Paddy Clifford.
Yeah.
And the ball was...
All right, pretty exciting once again, Pork. I like the commentator's voice as well.
Yeah, well, it turned out, Kathleen, that Kerry easily won that game in the end, and so that was the first game, as I said. So that meant Kerry were into the All-Ireland semi-final. And then yesterday, the next game was Armagh versus Monaghan. That's an all-Ulster affair. And there was this day when it's an all-Ulster affair, there'll always be hair and skin flying. And this game was actually tied at the end of normal time, went to overtime, and still tied, then went to penalties, and actually ended up Monaghan winning 9-8 on penalties. Every team scored the penalties until it got to the 9th penalty and it got saved. So Monaghan are into the All-Ireland semi-final, and shall we say, John Traynor will be a very happy man today.
Oh, absolutely! Congratulations, John.
So that was so Kerry Monaghan into the semi-finals, and then this morning, first game was Cork versus Derry, and Cork were looking for a return to glory. They used to be a very successful team for many years. They haven't had such success in recent years, so they were looking for a return to their former type of form. But Derry won that game. So there we had three teams into the All-Ireland semi-final, and then the game that is just over, and this is really the game that was most anticipated by all GAA fans everywhere in the world, I expect. It was Dublin and Mayo, and as we know by now, Mayo are going for the first All-Ireland since 1951. Dublin had won 7 All-Irelands in a row up to 2 years ago. And so I give you a quick, the game at half-time was I think tied up. Really good first half. You would feel that either team could win the game. However, Dublin came out in the second half, went way ahead, and unfortunately the game was over with about 10 minutes to go. So Dublin have broken Mayo hearts again. And so here we are. Now we're going to have Dublin, Kerry, Derry and Monaghan in the All-Ireland semi-final, and that will be in 2 weeks. And then this next weekend we have the All-Ireland hurling semi-finals, and that'll be the excitement for next weekend.
Well, lots of excitement. You guys must be all exhausted from marathon football games watching. And hopefully one of your teams won that you were rooting for. But all exciting, huh? Well,
We lost it.
well, that was poor. He wasn't going to commit to his team won or didn't win. Keep it neutral there, but it is very exciting, and we know that we have received some nice little messages. Here's Pork. Okay, all right, Pork.
Yeah, sorry, Kathleen, we seem to get disconnected. But anyhow, I kind of finished up, Kathleen, on Gaelic sport. So with the All-Ireland hurling semi-finals on next weekend, I'll be back to you next weekend.
All right, very good. And do you have a selection for our show today? You always have such great songs that you pick out.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about the immigration and the songs that one of that I remembered was from a few years ago by 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐲𝐻. It was called "Thousands Are Sailing," and of course Andy Irvine was a singer, and the uilleann pipe player on that was with 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐲𝐻 was 𝐕 Flynn, and 𝐕 Flynn actually passed away a number of years ago, but was one of the great uilleann pipe players in the country. So 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐲𝐻, "Thousands Are Sailing."
It sounds like a good song for today's show. So thank you very much. Enjoy your 4th of July, and we'll be looking forward to the hurling news next week. All right?
Kathleen, I won't miss my assignment again like I did today. I'll be back at the normal time.
Okay, good enough. Well, whenever you can get the call in, that's perfect. We always appreciate you taking the time. So
thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
Take care. God bless. And with that, we're off with 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐲𝐻 and
You brave Irish heroes, wherever you be, I pray stand a moment and listen to me. Your sons and fair daughters are now going away, and thousands are sailing to America. So good luck to those people, and safe may they land. They are leaving their country for a far distant strand. They are leaving old Ireland, no longer can stay, and thousands are sailing to America. The night before leaving, they are bidding goodbye, and it's early next morning, their heart gives a sigh. They do kiss their mothers, and then they will say, farewell, dear old father, we must now go away. Their friends and relations and neighbours also, when the trunks are all packed up, all ready to go. Oh, the tears from their eyes, they fall down like the rain, and the horses are prancing, going off for the train. So good luck to those people, and safely they land. They are leaving their country for a far distant strand. They are leaving old Ireland, no longer can stay, and thousands are sailing to America. When the two reach the station, you will hear their last cry, with handkerchiefs waving and bidding goodbye. Their hearts will be breaking on leaving the shore. Farewell, dear old Ireland, will we ne'er see you more? Oh, I pity the mother that rears up the child, and likewise the father who labours and toils to try to support them. He will work night and day, and when they are there, love, they will go away. To those people, and safely they land. They are leaving their country for a far distant strand. They are leaving old Ireland, no longer can stay, and thousands are sailing to America. Oh, thousands are sailing to America.
All right, I received a notice from Janet Anderson, who is the one involved in the Story Circle, which meets the second Wednesday of the month at the Gaelic League Irish American Club. And she makes mention that the next gathering will be on Wednesday, July 12th at 6 p.m. She, along with a few other of us, are going to be in Chicago for a conference at the Chicago Irish Heritage Center. So those of our listeners that are part of that, seek us out. We'd love to meet some of our listeners that are from Illinois, including our friend Stacy Skinador. And I should make mention that there have been a number of people that have already checked in today that are listening, and we appreciate you doing so. And those of you that haven't, you're welcome. We still have time. But I got a nice little good afternoon to Kathleen and Bruce. That Stacy Skinador is in rainy Illinois. Well, we've had rains here too, but I guess it's a little bit of a relief. Sandy and Marty are up in Glen Harbor. John L. and Julie Sullivan are in Chatham, Ontario, where they live. Norm and Maureen Roots are down in the Irish Hills. Daniel Martin has checked in. Peggy Sokolnicki, I believe it's the name. I hope I pronounced it right, Peggy. It's tuned in. Sheila and Stephen Maloney are listening on their way home from the match that we just heard from Pork Egan, and of course Sheila has mentioned Up the Dubs. There's a little bit of rivalry going on in that household, but all in good fun and great win either way. Also heard from Mark Hurley, Brita Miller, Linda Wern, and Peggy Spilker. So thanks very much to all of you. Back to what Janet has mentioned, there beyond the story circle, which has become a fun night here for those that enjoy reading Irish literature and dissecting and talking about the different themes and characters and the writing styles. She also mentions that there's going to be a table at the annual Eastern Market Book Fest on Sunday, July 16th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The money that is raised will help with the Gaelic League's building fund. They will be selling some of the Irish themed books from the Gaelic League Library, along with the books that were written during the COVID, including Speak the Irish, coloring book about the Gaelic League, and fraternal organizations that Janet has written. So she's recruiting people to sign up for 1 or 2 hours to help at that event. Once again, that is on Sunday, July 16th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. If anyone is interested, you can contact Janet at janetanderson1965 at hotmail.com. You can also check out the website in regards to the book fest down at Eastern Market by going to DetroitBookFest.com. And I'm going to add to her little note here, for those of you that have books that you are wanting to get rid of, do not run down and drop them all off down at the Gaelic League, but you can contact us through the Detroit Irish Radio at gmail.com, because Father Brendan's parish down in Wyandotte do a media and book sale in September, and there's a fellow that will make arrangements to collect those books. And so if you're in the process of eliminating some, there's different people that would enjoy getting them and different organizations that would benefit from them. All right, with that, shall we go back into some music here? This one, we just heard the song that Pork Egan had selected, Thousands Are Sailing. Well, this song is also about trying to make it to North America by ship, and the song is Far From Their Home. It's being sung by Brendan Nolan, and it's in regards to those that ended up traveling to Canada, and the many that had died along the way or died when they got to shore and are buried in unmarked graves in 𝐿𝙚𝙗 of Canada. We'll hear it now.
We left our homes and traveled, the many not know where we lie. They said 'twas a land of promise, the few saw it with their own eyes. For it's here on this sad, lonely island where the wind blows cold to the bone. We rest in its soil forgotten, far away from our home. on the 14th day of June, our packet it set sail down the eastern coast. We wound past Wexford and Kinsale, till sadly the sunset faded gently from our eyes, and the lights of the southwest flickered away as we said our last goodbye. Oh, it's hard to describe the suffering as this awful voyage began. 2 weeks out to sea, we'd lost 10 or more, as the fever took the strongest of men, and the halls were battened for days on end to stifle the sickness below, while the waters of the ocean swallowed our dead far away from their home. Though our spirits they were weary, as a great broad river began, and a whale rose up from the waters as we sail into this new land, with its hillsides that slope toward the shoreline, and villages cradled within. We pray that these people could pity our plight and find a new home for our kin. Within sight of Grosil, we were anchored far offshore, for many more ships lay waiting, and we'd stay maybe 5 days or more, for the lost ones outnumber the living, and a terrible sight it was plain, as a packet floated out in the bay with its human cargo aflame. And the sheds overflowed with the suffering, and the cries pierced the silence at night, and these brave ones attended these travelers, some paid with their lives in the fight. And I've lost my own on this island, and my own candles near died away. To travel so far on our journey, humble voyagers, together we'll stay. m'appelle 𝐈𝐦𝐦𝐢𝐭. Mes ancêtres sont ici, enterrés sous le gros ciel qui fait face à ma ville Montmagny. Mes souvenirs ne sont que des fantômes qui s'envolent et dansent dans le vent. Ils demandent qu'on se souvienne d'eux, même si ce n'est qu'en chantant. And there are no boats tied in the river. The cross stands gaunt on the hill. No wretched shadows trod from the shore to the fever sheds now that lie still. Just the white markers guard their memory, no names carved in granite or stone. And the long grass waves to the wind as she blows, all these brave ones far from their home. And the long grass waves to the wind as she blows, all these brave ones far from their home.
I just mentioned to Bruce that it's kind of a sad, long song, and there's plenty of other songs that we could be playing in regards to the famine. And it looks like we have a call right now. Hello?
Mystery caller.
Yeah, mystery call just dropped. How about we find out who that mystery call is? And I think it's our good friend Peggy. Maybe you can call her. Or... Oh, all right. Can we put that off the board? Oh, hi. Is this Peggy?
Yeah, something was wrong with my phone. Yeah.
Oh, well, let's see. We got you right now, and you're on the air, so you can share with us the news we've been waiting for about what's happening down at the St. Anne Basilica for the St. Anne Novena later this month.
Correct, yes. I'm calling just to remind everybody of, there's always that novena that's associated with St. Anne's, and it starts in the third week of July, and there's 9 days, and on the 10th day that there's a special Mass for St. Anne's, and the Celtic Mass is on July 21st at 7 o'clock. And we'll have representation from the Irish organizations and some of the other Celtic organizations. And we'll have special packets as people leave this year. We tried something a little different last year and it went over well. So I'm not going to tell all our little religious packets and some ethnic food packets to people to take home. And the history of St. Anne's, and to always remember to keep it on your calendars for every July. And if you need any other questions or comments you want answered, you can call me at this number, 586-296-5378.
All right, and is there any music? And, in the past
there'll be music and dancers. We're just trying to, and there's bagpipers, and we also have there's a procession after this year. I think it's going to be right after the Mass, where they take the St. Anne's statue and go around the church so people can see it and say a special prayer to St. Anne.
Very, very nice. And we thank you for being a part of coordinating this. I know it's something that kind of has fallen into your lap, but you did a super nice job last year, and we want the place packed this year. Hopefully people will come down. It's a Friday night, and once again, it starts at 7. It's always been a nice event. And the church itself is located at 1000 St. Anne Street, which is in southwest Detroit. just in a view of the Ambassador Bridge. I think it's 20th Street, maybe?
18.
Yeah, it is 20th.
Okay. And anything else we should know, Peggy?
And I just think we all forget that St. Anne's is one of the jewels of the city of Detroit. It's the second, only the second, the consistent church that's been around since the 1800s. So, and it's reached out to so many people and so many different ethnic groups that I think it just makes it special, and why it should, in its location, and we should come and support not only the Irish but St. Anne's.
Well, I was going to say, and when you say the second oldest, because I have said this to people and they're shocked, like, are you sure? But it is in the United States. And I think, truthfully, it was founded back when the city of Detroit was founded in 1701, wasn't it?
1701. And do you realize when they had the fire, too, that it was, it burnt the original one down by the waterfront, kind of like Hart Plaza is, and they got together with a bunch of people, and they were able to rebuild it. So it's been consistent consecutively. So
right. Well, and this church that you're talking,
yes,
yeah,
the original, but they never left. You know, they were always a force in the city. So
exactly. And another little historical fact is that is why so many of the Irish, when they immigrated to America, instead of staying along the East Coast, where they were greeted with signs like "No Irish Need Apply," and that, they came west to Detroit because it was a friendlier city. It was basically Catholic, and it was settled by the French, and they were welcomed here. So that's another fact why you saw so many Irish settle in Detroit. And today, Monsignor 𝐃𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐨𝐢𝐭 is not only the overseer or pastor of the Basilica of St. Anne, but also of Most Holy Trinity, which was the Irish church. So
correct.
Lots of history there, you know.
And a little other thing is too, a lot of people always assume that people came here to work in the cars, in the factory, but we were quite big in the train, making trains and all the inside, you know, the interior of the trains, and a lot of Irish people did that too. That's why they came, because they could get a job.
Right. And another, we're doing a little bit of trivia here, but we're also doing presentations, some of us, in the future, and have done a lot of research on it. Detroit at one time was known as the national stove capital of the United States, because the Detroit stoves were built here for like 50 years. They claimed that title, and it was sons of immigrants, Irish immigrants, the Dwyer brothers, James and Jeremiah. So lots of history here in Detroit, and a lot of the Irish involvement, and today we're talking about immigrants.
we are more than just a St. Patrick's Day parade. We have so much to be proud of, and so much to pass on generation to generation, and that is our calling, is to do that.
Right, absolutely. Well, and I'm glad you did this calling today. So looking forward to seeing you and many others on, once again, it's Friday, July 21st at 7 p.m. If you have more information to share or have questions for Peggy, can you give us that number again, Peggy, please?
586-296-5378.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so very much. You have a great 4th of July, and stay well. All right?
Okay, you also. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. God bless. So that was our friend Peggy Shimatera. And as I mentioned, we have lots of songs that are about the famine. I think we're going to skip them today and go right into another song about another ship. And we've heard so much about this ship in the news of late, and that is the Titanic, where so many Irish that were hoping to settle in a new world also lost their lives. And yet there were some that survived, and those immigrants became a part of our nation. We're going to hear the song, "The Titanic" by the Irish Rovers.
they'd never seen before. There's not just Italy queen to rule the waves and sail from shore to shore. She was the grandest of them all, her lines were sleek and bold. She sparkled like the jewels bright, a wonder to behold. The gentry sailed away in style, fine wines did freely flow, while the second class and steerage were all quartered down below. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Well, the captain said full speed ahead, we'll show the world her might. So keep the boiler stoked, me boys, we'll race her through the night. We'll own the fastest record for the crossing of the sea, and the RMS Titanic she'll go down in history. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. On the 14th night of April, when the ship was far from land, dreams were torn asunder as cruel fate brought down her hand. Titanic struck an iceberg and she slipped beneath the waves, and 1,517 souls went to their watery graves. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Have come and gone, and still we know her name. When a voyage bound for glory turned to tragedy and shame, it's a night to be remembered for man's own frailty, when the mighty ship Titanic sank to the bottom of the sea. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of time. Roll on, Titanic, roll, you're the pride of the White Star Line. Roll on, Titanic, roll, into the mists of
Another event that you want to get on your calendar is the Irish Heritage Night at Comerica Park. That's the Detroit Tigers versus the White Sox on Friday, September 8th. The game starts at 6:40, but Irish festivities start an hour earlier at 5:45. Tickets are $32 per person, which includes one mezzanine ticket, one 2023 Tigers Irish Heritage jersey while the supply lasts, and $5 is being donated to United Irish Societies for their annual St. Patrick's Parade. If you'd like to order tickets, there's already been 1,000 of those tickets sold and more, and so they did order 500 more shirts. Now those might also be gone, but you can check with our ticket sales lady, and that is Marilyn Couture. Her number is 734-818-0815, or you can email her at MommaCoot, MOMMACOOT @AOL.com. And prior to that special day in September, there is on Sunday, August 27th at 6 p.m., the raffle for the ceremonial first pitch. This is a chance for someone to stand on the Comerica Park pitcher's mound representing the Irish community and throwing out the first pitch for the Irish dignitaries, fans, and Detroit Tigers. So if you want those tickets, they're $5 each or $5 for $20. The drawing will take place on Sunday, August 27th at Dunleavy's Irish Pub in Allen Park. Once again, this number will also work for both tickets or for the raffle, and it's Maureen Root. Her number is 313-690-1813. We have time for a few more songs here. This time we are going to go with the Kennedy's Kitchen, a group out of Indiana, with the song, the Immigration Song, and then followed up with Joe McShane, who is from the north of Ireland but living in Chicago. And this is an immigrant that obviously enjoys where he is. The song is The Irish in Chicago.
It's the dawn of a beautiful morning. Sun is rising, a chill in the air. But I'd rather be in a place far from me, on the streets back in my little town. I left home long ago for the new world, left my friends and my dear ones behind. And if I let it at all, my mind quickly recalls all the streets back in my little town. There's the neighbor out tending her garden, and the kids playing ball in the yard. Gentle breezes that blow through the house that I know, all the things back in my little town. My old schoolmates, my friends and relations, smiling eyes saying, how have you been? All the good folks and kind, all that I left behind, everyone back in my little town. hard to get over this feeling, lose the sadness that comes over me. 'Cause there's no place, you see, nowhere that I'd rather be than on the streets back in my little town. Now I have all the things one could ask for, and my life should be happy and fine. But a voice now and then keeps on calling again from the streets back in my little town. Oh yes, a voice now and then keeps on calling again from the streets back in my little town.
I won't forget that morning when I left my native land, kissed my mother on the cheek and shook my father's hand. He said, son, just remember, don't ever feel alone. We'll always be here for you if you need to come back home. As I started on my journey, my heart thundered in my chest. Felt like turning back again, but I vowed I'd try my best. So with fear and some excitement, I stepped on board the plane, with thoughts of Ireland with me and when I'd return again. Well, I'm over here on a foreign soil, but God, it feels like home. There's people here from Donegal, Cork, Dublin and Mayo. There's no time for feeling lonesome, oh, you're always on the go. With the Irish in Chicago, it's my home away from home. Throughout the years I've traveled back to Ireland when I could. The old folks always welcome me and hope I'm home for good. Well, I think of how my life has changed, where I'd like to be, in the city where I'm living or my home across the sea. Well, I'm over here on a foreign soil, but God, it feels like home. There's people here from Donegal, Cork, Dublin and Mayo. There's no time for feeling lonesome, for you're always on the go. With the Irish in Chicago, it's my home away from home.
All right, a little event closer to home if you're into wanting to watch a game. The Jimmy John's Field is out in Utica on Auburn Road in Utica. They're having an Irish American Heritage Night. The Unicorns versus the Hoppers on Thursday, July 27th. First pitch is at 7:05. Gates open at 6 p.m. And they will have there Bob and Carl, the Shannon Irish Dance Academy, Motor City Irish Dancers, and Liam, the extra large leprechaun. So check that out as well. Another fun event for all of us. And I had briefly mentioned the Saline Celtic Festival. It's taking place at the Washtenaw Farm Council grounds, and that's on July 7th and 8th, which is this coming Friday and Saturday. Friday, it's from 5 to 11 p.m., and adult tickets are $8. Saturday, It's an all-day affair from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., and those adult tickets are $18. Tickets are available to everyone at the gate. Check out Celine Celtic Festival. You'll see some of the entertainers that we are familiar with, including the Brothers Crow, Wakefire, Crossbow, and 𝐷𝐸MA will be doing a session there, so that should be fun. Just going to do a really quick recap, and then we're going to go into the last couple of songs here. The Gaelic League obviously is closed today. Wednesday is the Detroit Irish Music Association monthly session. It starts at 6:30 to about 9. Detroit Harps, the young group of children from 5 to 17-year-olds, are having their training out at Floden Park from 6 to 7:30 p.m. this coming Wednesday. Nothing today. A Celine Festival is on Friday and Saturday. Madigan's Attic is at the Gaelic League from 8 to 11 p.m. on Saturday. And 𝐷𝐸MA will be here with us for Detroit Irish Radio. They're doing a session from 3 to 5 at the Gaelic League next Sunday, and maybe a few of them will join the show before it ends. With that, we are going to hear or go out with the songs God Bless America by the Irish Tenors, and then Phil Coulter's instrumental, The Immigrant's Letter. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in today on this holiday weekend, 4th of July. Be safe, safe travels, enjoy your family and activities that you will be doing. But most of all, let's remember and be grateful for all of our immigrants that have come to make this a place for us to enjoy our independence and freedoms. So thank you for tuning in to Detroit Irish Radio at crbradio.com. This has been your host, Kathleen O'Neill, along with Bruce Smith and Art Collins, Christina Sagas, Porrick Egan, and Peggy Schimmeter. And a big shout out and thank you to Mary Bongiorno for keeping us on track and making it all happen on Detroit Irish Radio Facebook page. Keep all that are in poor health in your prayers. Until next week, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Have a great week. 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐫𝐲 𝐈𝐦𝐦𝐢𝐭.
Swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside me and guide me through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies,